All right, let's jump right in today. We're diving deep into Eguisheim.
Eguisheim.
Yeah, it's this uh, tiny French village tucked away in the Alsace region.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So, you're probably picturing charming cobblestone streets
Yeah?
and those storybook houses
Uh-huh.
with the colorful timber frames.
Yeah. It's lovely.
And you wouldn't be wrong.
Well.
But there's so much more to this place
Oh,
than just looks. Our source material today is this newsletter article
okay.
called Which Tiny French Village Produced a Pope and World-Class Wines?
Wow, that's quite a title.
It's from Love to Visit France, and it really sets the stage
I can see that.
for the unexpected layers we're about to uncover.
So, a pope and world-class wines, that's not your typical village combo.
Right, it's like Eguisheim decided to be amazing in the most contrasting ways.
Yeah, very interesting.
But before we get to the Pope and the wine,
Okay.
let's set the scene visually.
Yeah.
The article talks about these medieval streets
No.
that form a concentric circle around the village square.
It's a circular layout. That's pretty unique.
Yeah, and you can imagine how it developed over time, right?
I guess starting from a central point,
Exactly.
expanding outwards like rings on a tree.
Yeah, it's definitely a far cry from the grid-like streets
Oh, yeah.
we see in most cities today.
Absolutely.
And then picture this. Those colorful, half-timbered houses
Mm-hmm.
and flower-filled window boxes.
Sounds idyllic.
It really does sound like something out of a fairy tale, doesn't it?
It does.
The article really highlights how this kind of charm
Yeah.
isn't always found in the bigger cities.
Like Paris.
Exactly, like Paris.
Yeah.
So Eguisheim offers this different kind of French experience.
Okay.
It's not about those grand monuments or iconic landmarks.
Mm-hmm.
It's about stepping back in time, enjoying a slower pace of life,
I like that.
and experiencing that intimate, almost village-like atmosphere.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It makes you wonder if Eguisheim is almost too perfect.
Too perfect.
Yeah. Like, is it all just for show, or is there more to it?
That's a great question.
To really answer that,
Yeah.
we need to look beyond just the surface
Okay.
and delve into the history and culture of Eguisheim.
Makes sense.
Let's start with that papal connection.
All right. The Pope.
Yeah, because I'm really curious about a pope from such a small village.
Yeah, is unusual.
So what can you tell us about this historical figure?
So the Pope in question is Pope Leo IX,
Okay.
born Bruno of Egisheim-Dagsburg back in 1002.
1002, wow.
He might not be a household name
Right.
like some other popes,
Sure.
but he played a crucial role in the church
Really?
during a time of intense conflict.
Oh, a tumultuous time then.
It was.
So what were the major challenges facing the church back then?
Well, one of the biggest issues was simony.
So, I mean, what's that?
It's essentially the buying and selling of church positions.
Oh, wow.
It was rampant, and it meant that people were appointed to powerful roles, not because of their devotion,
I see.
but because of their wealth or connections.
So a lot of corruption then.
A lot of corruption.
Yeah, that would definitely undermine the church's authority.
Exactly. And Pope Leo IX recognized this.
Okay.
He was a staunch advocate for reform.
Reform? What kind of reform?
He wanted to root out the corruption, raise the standards for clergy,
Okay.
and restore the church's credibility.
So he was trying to clean up a system that had gone astray.
You could say that.
And his reforms went beyond just tackling simony.
Oh,
He was also a strong proponent of clerical celibacy.
clerical celibacy, right?
Yeah, at the time, many priests and bishops were married,
Okay.
which led to conflicts of interest.
Interesting.
So it sounds like he was drawing a line
Mm-hmm.
between the spiritual and secular worlds.
Yeah, you could see it that way.
But I'm guessing these reforms weren't easy to implement.
You're right. It was a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
And it brought him into conflict with powerful figures.
Both inside and outside the church.
Both inside and outside.
Okay, so who did he clash with?
Well, one of the most defining events of his papacy was his confrontation with the Normans.
The Normans.
Yeah.
They were a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely.
And they were expanding their influence
Yeah.
rapidly, right?
That's right.
So were they a threat to the church?
Their presence in southern Italy was a direct challenge
To the Pope's authority?
to the Pope's authority.
So how did this clash play out?
Well, in 1053, Pope Leo IX led an army against the Normans.
A warrior pope?
He was willing to take up arms to defend the church.
Wow, so how did that go?
Unfortunately, the papal forces were no match for the Normans.
Oh, no.
Pope Leo IX's army was defeated,
Um,
and he was taken prisoner.
what happened to him?
Well, the Normans treated him with respect.
Okay.
He was later released.
Okay.
But this defeat marked a turning point.
I see.
It showed the limits of papal power.
Really makes you think.
It does.
This tiny village Eguisheim,
Yeah.
birthplace of a pope who confronted the Normans
It's quite a story.
and tried to reform the entire church.
It is.
It really makes you wonder what it was about this place
Right.
that produced such a significant figure.
You know, it speaks to the idea that even the smallest places can have a huge impact on history.
Absolutely.
Englisheim might be charming and picturesque,
Yeah.
but it also has this hidden depth,
Definitely.
this connection to major historical events
I love that.
that shaped Europe.
It's a reminder that there's often more to a place than meets the eye.
Definitely.
And Eguisheim seems to have layers upon layers of fascinating stories.
Yeah.
Speaking of layers, we've explored the papal connection.
Right.
But Eguisheim also has another claim to fame. It's world-class wines.
Ah, yes, the wine.
I'm eager to uncork that topic next
Let's do it.
and delve into what makes Alsatian wine so special.
Sounds good.
Stay with us because we're just getting started with this deep dive.
I'm ready. Now, Alsatian wine, we're talking about a region that's truly unique in French viticulture.
You know, I've heard that they have a distinct character
Oh,
that
Demi.
sets them apart from other French wines.
Well, for one, the focus on white wines.
Okay. While other regions,
Yeah.
like Bordeaux or Burgundy,
Yeah, those are famous for their reds.
exactly. But Alsace is predominantly white wine country.
Interesting. So what kind of white wines?
They're known for their aromatic complexity,
Oh,
their elegance, and a vibrancy you don't find everywhere.
okay. So what are some of the grape varieties we should look out for?
Well, the big three would be Riesling, Gewürztraminer, and Pinot Gris.
Okay, let's break those down. I've heard of Riesling, but I'm not
So-
sure I could describe it.
Riesling is fascinating. It can express itself in so many ways. You can have dry, off-dry, even sweet Rieslings,
Wow, so many styles.
each with its own charm. But what unites them is the aromatic intensity.
Okay, so what kind of aromas are we talking about?
Citrus fruits, stone fruits like apricot and peach,
Mm-hmm.
and this honeyed note that develops as it ages.
Okay, so Riesling is all about the aromatics.
Yeah, you could say that.
What about Gewürztraminer?
Now, that's a grape that makes a statement.
In what way?
It's known for its spicy floral aromas. Spicy and floral, interesting combination.
You might get lychee, rose petals, even ginger.
Yeah, that sounds exotic.
And on the palate, it's full-bodied and rich,
Brito.
with a slightly oily texture.
I can almost taste it already. What about Pinot Gris?
Pinot Gris is more versatile, produces wines that are dry and full-bodied.
Okay.
They often have this nutty character,
Nutty.
with notes of pear, apple, sometimes a hint of spice.
So we've got aromatic Riesling, spicy Gewürztraminer, and nutty Pinot Gris.
That's a good way to put it.
The article mentions that the terroir really makes Alsatian wines special.
Terroir is key.
What does that mean in this context?
Terroir encompasses all the environmental factors
Oh, yeah.
that influence the wine's character.
Like what?
Soil, climate, altitude, sunlight, even wine-making practices.
So it's like the wine is a reflection of where it's from.
Exactly, a liquid embodiment of the land.
I like that.
And in Alsace, you have this amazing combination of factors.
Okay.
The Vosges Mountains create a rain shadow,
Protecting the vineyards.
protecting the vineyards from too much rain.
That makes sense. And the climate.
Relatively sunny and dry.
Perfect for grapes.
And the soils are diverse: granite, limestone, clay.
So all of this contributes to the complexity of the wines.
It all plays a part.
I'm picturing these vineyards cascading down the mountains
You're not far off. They're often planted on steep, south-facing slopes.
to get the most sun.
Exactly. And many of these vineyards are family-owned,
Passed down through generations.
passed down through generations.
Oh, amazing.
So there's a deep connection between the people and the land.
And that's reflected in the wines.
Absolutely, you can taste it.
That human element, the tradition, the heritage, it adds another layer
It
to the
does.
story of the wine.
It's not just about the grapes and the soil.
Right.
It's about the people who have been tending these vines.
For centuries.
Exact.
I think that's something that resonates with wine lovers.
It does.
There's a sense of history, craftsmanship, passion in the wine.
You're right. It's not just a beverage. It's a story in a glass.
A story in a glass. I love that.
It's true. Wine can evoke memories, emotions, a sense of place.
It's like liquid storytelling.
I like that.
Okay, we've covered the character of Alsatian wine, the grapes, the terroir, the human element.
Yeah.
But one question remains.
What's that?
Eguisheim is known for producing world-class wines.
Right.
What does that actually mean?
That's the million-dollar question.
What makes a wine world-class?
Well, I think it boils down to a few key factors.
Okay.
Exceptional quality, impeccable balance, complexity.
So it has to be objectively good.
It has to be objectively good.
What else?
It has to express a sense of place.
Okay, that terroir we were talking about.
The terroir, it should tell a story about its origins.
The sense of authenticity.
Exactly, and it needs that wow factor.
The wow factor, what's that?
It should be memorable, thought-provoking.
Something that stays with you.
That stays with you.
Okay, so it has to have that special something
You got it.
that elevates it above the ordinary.
Exactly.
And you think Alsatian wines, especially from Eguisheim, have that.
They often tick all the boxes: quality, terroir, and that wow factor.
Quite a reputation to live up to.
It is.
I'm now even more eager to try these wines and see for myself.
I think you'll be impressed.
So we've delved into the history of Pope Leo IX,
We have.
explored Alsatian wines, and talked about terroir.
A lot to cover.
But what about the village itself?
Ah! Hey, Eguisheim.
Ready for that virtual stroll through those charming streets?
Let's take a look. Eguisheim is like stepping into a storybook. You know, remember that circular layout we talked about?
Oh yeah, the streets that spiral outwards from the square.
Exactly. It creates this incredible visual effect. It's like the village is embracing you, drawing you inwards.
I like that.
And as you wander through those cobblestone streets, you're surrounded by these half-timbered houses.
The article mentioned how colorful they are.
Oh yeah, the colors are so vivid, and they're often accented by these flower boxes overflowing with blooms.
So every corner is a picture postcard.
Pretty much. And it's not just for show. The residents take pride in maintaining their homes and gardens.
Oh, really?
There's even a competition for the most beautiful floral displays.
That's awesome. It shows that the village is alive and well.
It really does. Eguisheim has embraced its popularity as a travel destination.
Yeah, but it hasn't lost that authentic feel.
Not at all.
So if someone were planning a trip to Eguisheim,
Mm-hmm.
what are some must-do activities beyond just admiring the houses?
Well, for history buffs, there's the 13th century Eguisheim Castle.
Okay, Castle.
It offers panoramic views of the vineyards and the rolling hills of Alsace.
Sounds beautiful. And what about the culture?
Plenty of charming boutiques and shops selling local crafts, regional specialties, and of course the wines.
I'm already picturing myself browsing those shops.
You should.
Are there any events or festivals worth checking out?
If you're there during the holidays, the Eguisheim Christmas Market is a must-see.
A Christmas market. How festive.
The whole village transforms into a winter wonderland, twinkling lights, decorations, gingerbread, mulled wine.
That sounds magical.